like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Na Diorpop. Before we begin, take a deep breath with me, because today's story is not loud, not dramatic, but quietly overwhelming. It's the kind of story that makes your chest feel tight for no clear reason, the kind that reminds you how love can exist in the smallest glances and the softest moments. Today, we're talking about a feeling many of us can't explain without sounding a little dramatic, the kind of love that makes you think, I might die because I love this man too much. A love born from softness, kindness, and a heart that feels far too gentle for a world this harsh. This is a story about Jimin, about his warmth, his quiet fragility, and the way his presence alone can make people want to protect him. And of course, this is also a story about Jungkook, the one who stays, who watches, who becomes calmer just by being near him. So stay with me. Let's talk about the kind of love that doesn't need to be named, the kind that simply exists and somehow makes everything feel a little more bearable. There is a kind of love that doesn't explode. It isn't loud, it doesn't demand recognition, and it doesn't need to be proven. It arrives quietly and stays. And every time I look at Jimin, the way he laughs, the way he walks with his shoulders slightly drawn in, the way he seems to want to embrace the world while also fearing how harsh it can be, I feel my chest tighten with something I can't properly name. I think I might die because I love this man too much. Not a painful kind of dying, but a full one. A gentle collapse under the weight of too much warmth. Jimin is adorable in a way that cannot be forced. He doesn't try to be soft, he simply is. In the way his eyes widen when he's surprised, always looking a little glassy, in the small smile that appears without warning, in the way he bites his lip when he's nervous, and in how he constantly checks on everyone around him. He is gentle without being weak, fragile without ever truly breaking. And that is exactly what makes him so devastatingly beautiful. And then there is Jungkook. Jungkook, who usually looks strong, energetic, like someone ready to charge headfirst into the world. But whenever he's with Jimin, something shifts. His shoulders relax. His gaze softens. His smile becomes unguarded. It's as if Jimin is a place of rest, one Jungkook didn't even realize he needed. There is a certain way Jungkook looks at Jimin that simply cannot be hidden. A gaze that lingers too long to be accidental. Attention that is far too consistent to be meaningless. Jungkook watches Jimin like someone afraid to miss even a single second of the person he cares about. And the most heartbreaking, tender part of it all is this. Jimin never seems fully aware of just how deeply he is loved. Jimin always looks surprised when he's praised, as if he's never entirely believed that he deserves that much affection. Every time Jungkook laughs because of him, every time Jungkook calls his name in that soft, fond tone, Jimin responds with shy smiles, lowered eyes, quiet laughter, reactions that make you want to shield him from a world that's far too rough for someone like him. I often wonder how someone this soft manages to survive in an industry this cruel. How someone with a heart this gentle hasn't been completely shattered. And the answer always circles back to one thing. Jimin is not alone. Jungkook is there. Boys. Sometimes standing too close, sometimes simply sharing the same space, but his presence is constant. Like an anchor, keeping Jimin from drifting away. They don't need to touch to look close. Sitting side by side is enough. A glance is enough. Jungkook instinctively turning his head whenever Jimin speaks, and Jimin unconsciously searching for Jungkook in a crowded room. That's enough. Their closeness doesn't ask to be noticed, yet it's impossible to ignore. There are small moments that make your chest ache. Jungkook smiling with pride when Jimin performs. Jimin's eyes immediately seeking Jungkook after finishing a song, as if he needs that one look to confirm that everything is okay. Jungkook laughing the loudest at Jimin's jokes. Jimin subtly leaning toward Jungkook without even realizing it. Little things that might seem insignificant to others, but to those who pay attention, they are everything. And through all of this, Jimin's adorableness remains almost painful to witness. He's too kind, too considerate, always wanting to be loved, yet too afraid to ask for it. There is a faint sadness behind his smile, like someone who has spent too long feeling like he's never quite enough, even while the world insists otherwise. Jungkook, knowingly or not, always seems to patch those fragile places. In his own way. Through presence. Through attention. By making sure Jimin is never truly alone, even in silence. And maybe Jungkook never says the word love out loud, but the way he stays, steadfast and unwavering, is already more than enough. Sometimes I feel a quiet envy toward the way they found each other. Not because it's romantic, but because it feels safe. Because in a world that constantly demands strength from them, they found someone who allows them to be tired. To be real. To be vulnerable without fear of abandonment. And every time I see Jimin laugh freely because of Jungkook, the thought returns. I think I might really die because I love this man too much. Because how can someone be this adorable, this kind, and still endure? How can someone inspire such a fierce desire to protect him, when all he ever does is protect others? Jimin is a reminder that softness is not weakness. And Jungkook is proof that love doesn't always need to be spoken. Sometimes it's shown by staying, by being present, by choosing the same person every single day, even when the world is unkind. And maybe that's why my chest feels so tight. Because watching them together feels like witnessing something too pure for a world that often isn't. Something you want to hold close, to shield, to keep safe, even if only from afar. I think I might die because I love this man too much. But if I have to fall, let it be from a love this beautiful. From a Jimin who is far too adorable for this world. And from a Jungkook who, quietly and faithfully, makes sure the world never truly hurts him. And maybe that's why stories like this stay with us long after the screen goes dark. Because in a world that asks us to be strong all the time, Jimin reminds us that softness is allowed. That kindness can survive. That being gentle doesn't mean being weak. And through him, we see Jungkook, not in grand gestures or loud declarations, but in quiet consistency. In staying. In watching. In choosing, again and again, without needing to explain why. Perhaps we don't love them because they are perfect. Perhaps we love them because they feel real. Because their bond feels safe. Because in their small moments, we find comfort we didn't know we were looking for. So if your heart feels a little heavy right now, that's okay. If you found yourself smiling without realizing it, that's okay too. Some stories aren't meant to be understood, they're meant to be felt. Thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for loving softly, for feeling deeply, and for seeing beauty in the quietest places. This has been Na Diorpop. Until next time, stay gentle and keep your heart warm. White Heart Sparkles.